Hello, this is Agil from Academia Plus. So today, 1st November 2022, we will be discussing a total of 8 topics and all the topics are taken from the Hindu newspaper. So the interested aspirants can download from this Telegram link. So shall we move on to the topics? So I think today it will take more time because there is a lot of important topics to discuss today. So please be patient, okay? So first topic is sequence of implementation EWS quota outcomes, right? So we know that by 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act, the government of India has brought some changes in the reservation policy, right? They have added EWS, economically weaker section, as a quota on the reservation policy, right? So we will be moving on to the details. The original intent to the reservation policy in the newly independent India was to level the playing field for the mostly marginalized sections. So originally, the after the uh, after the independence, the government brought this reservation policy for the people who are stigmatized and discriminated, the people who are discriminated not on the economical wise. So they had brought the accounts on birth, caste and the tribal groups, right? On these accounts only they have brought the reservations and not on the economical wise. While these groups were also economically deprived, that was not a main rationale for instituting compensatory discrimination in favor of these groups. Over the decades, we got more and more caste included in this reservation policy, and this leads to a great confusion, right? So, after the 2014, the new government introduced a new quota known as EWS by amending the constitution. So, in our India, there are two types of reservations. One is known as vertical reservation, and another one is known as horizontal reservation. So, vertical reservation means it includes SC, ST, and OBC. And horizontal reservation is it means it is included for all castes. That's why it's called as horizontal reservation. And in vertical reservation, it is included only for certain people. So only it is called as vertical reservation and horizontal reservation. In horizontal reservation, it is for categories such as women, people with a disability, and domicile. Right? You can understand now. Vertical reservation means people for certain quotas based on their birth and their caste. But horizontal reservation means it is included for all sections for people with disabilities, women, right? So, as long as vertical reservation was a social based group, no individual was eligible for multiple VR categories. Yeah, right. Only people will belong to certain communities and they will be eligible for their own reservations, not for multiple reservations. But 103rd Constitutional Amendment Act in 2019, popularly known as 10% quota, is known as EWS, fundamentally altered the original reservations by opening VR to groups that are not defined in the terms of hereditary, social group, identity, caste, or tribe. So, as I have already said, this vertical reservation is based on social groups, right? But EWS quota here, it doesn't include on the people on the basis of social groups, but rather it includes on economical group. So it created a huge confusion, right? So EWS system is not a constant system. So for example, if a people is born in that community, it means that person will be in that community in that community till his death, from birth to death. But this EWS quota doesn't fall under that. If a person is in EWS quota, he if person is in economically weaker state, he may gain some wealth and he may move out of that stage, or maybe he will come again later. So it is a transit stage, people can come in and come out, right? So while this meant in principle as individuals can belong to two buyer categories, say SC and EWS, the amendment explicitly removed individuals who are belonging to one buyer from one scope of EWS reservations. As a result of exclusion, the individual cannot be could be only eligible at most one vertical category. So what they have said is, consider a person from SC community, right? He is also economically weaker, but according to the reservation rules, a person should be in only one vertical category. So if he is in SC, he cannot claim EWS category, and if he is in EWS category, he cannot claim SC category, both vice versa. So he can claim only one vertical reservation category. So exclusion of SC, STs and OBCs from the scope of EWS reservation was immediately challenged on the court of grounds that it violated the right to equality under articles 14 to 18 of Indian Constitution. So here the SC person doesn't have a economically strong background, so he can't avail that EWS quota. So it is against the right to equality. So, on the last day of hearing, the Constitutional Bench of Supreme Court, the following compromise was made. Proposal was made by G. Mohan Gopal. Do not revoke the amendment. So, what he said is, don't revoke this amendment, EWS amendment, but instead interpret the language of amendment in a way that does not exclude. So, what he said is, change the language in the amendment such that even the SCs, STs, and OBCs from the can avail the scope of EWS reservation. So what he said is, there should be an overlapping in vertical reservation so that even a person who is economically weaker in SC, ST and OBC can also avail EWS quota so that they can avail both the quotas, right? So overlapping VR categories and ambiguity. Allowing for overlapping VR categories such as SC and EWS generates an important ambiguity under current legal framework, not most notably stemming from the ruling of Indra Sahani case. So, we have one another problem. In Indra Sahani case, what they said is there should be a cap. For example, if a person from one community, for example SC or ST, is having a salary of more than 12 lakhs per annum, his son cannot avail that quota because they are economically good section. So why should they have to avail that quota? So they have put a gap there so that other persons from the same community can avail that quota, right? So under this member, a reserved category who is entitled to open category based on merit should be awarded on open category position, not slotted under VR category. So these persons that I said no, for an example, those persons should be categorized under open category position and not under VR position. Technically, it implies that open category positions must be allocated on a merit in the first step, and VR should be allocated to individual persons in the second step. This procedure is called as over and above choice rule in the literature. This is to be distinguished from the guaranteed minimum rule, which would guarantee minimum number of positions for the members of beneficiary groups, regardless of whether they entry through reserved or open merits. When VR categories are mutually exclusive, no individual can be a member of multiple vertical categories. It is completely immaterial in what sequence vertical categories are processed in relation to each other. So now we will go in how EWs can be sequenced in the reservations. It should be below the open category, or it should be below the categories such as SC, ST, and below that we should categorize these EWS. Can you understand what I am saying? Whether we should, when an reservation is open, first we will get open category, right? After that we will be opening for OBC, then SC, then ST. So whether we should sequence the EWS category here or whether we should sequence the EWS category here, this is what we are going to discuss now. Consider the first scenario where EWS positions before the VR categories, right? Immediately after the open categories. In her 2019 paper with economist Deshpande shows that current income limit for EWS is so. When we see at the current scenario, more than 98% of the population qualifies for the EWS category. When we include all these people, right? When we include all these people, more than 98% of people fall under this EWS category. Almost everyone is eligible for EWS reservation. So if EWS reservations are called first, the outcome would be same as treating EWS as open position, right? Yeah, because um, here it will be taken immediately after the open position. So it will be almost like an open position. So this would effectively end up making EWS reservation redundant. So this will make it waste. This reservation as waste thing. Since the richest applicants are not eligible for EWS, the applicant outcome will be slightly different, but not a whole lot of 2% richest may not even apply to the public institutions where quotas are applicable. So now second position is what we consider EWS at the last stage. So if positions are allocated after all VR positions are filled, this issue will not be arise. Now, while all individuals with income lower than EWS limits are equally eligible for EWS positions, now, while all the individuals with incomes lower than EWS limit are equally eligible for EWS position, which is still effectively individual, the system awards the EWS positions to eligible individuals who has the highest merit scores. But since some of the highest scores individual from SC/ST or OBCs would be admitted under this, so what they are saying is when we admit EWS as the last at the last stage, what happens is it will be more effective because here we have already reservations for OBC, SC and ST. So in EWS we are considering the phenomena of adding all the groups under EWS. So when persons under SC, ST and OBC comes under EWS and they have reservations in their allocated category also, the highly merit students will first get reservation in their own category and then other eligible candidates will get reservation in EWS category. So the outcome will be more good. It will be more good and many people will get reservations under this EWS category, right? So the purpose of article is to demonstrate two routes imply that very different policies outcome. We are highlighting the fact that overlapping VR categories led to major ambiguity in the system. If the objective is to make EWS equally applicable to the current VR categories, then EWS should first be adopted with the recognition that sequencing will effectively convert EWS into what are currently called as open category positions. EWS last should be adopted with the recognition that sequencing will tilt the EWS category in favor of forward class. Since the impact of these two routes will be vastly different, it would be best if subtle aspect of EWS reservation is carefully evaluated and integrated in implementation of policy. Here what they are saying is if EWS is implemented at the first stage, it will be hugely disadvantageous. But if the EWS is implemented at the last stage, it will be hugely in favor of forward classes because since because the reservation the people in the OBC and SC/ST have already got the reservation. Only the left out will be open classes and they will get reservations in this EWS category. So here in this phenomena the government should plan so that everyone get a equal amount of chunk in the reservations. This is what they have said as a conclusion. So that would prefer the calculus somewhat since poorer individuals from all social groups including SC/ST would be eligible. In this scenario the richer above the presumed new income cutoff, SC/ST would be also eligible for the social based BR positions. So I hope you understood this topic very much. So, and there is one more article which is based on the same topic. I think you can study this and you can understand this because it is of the same. The subject which is discussed is of the same topic. If you study, you can understand. And if you want me to discuss the same topic, please comment so that I will make a separate video on this topic, right? So please study this. I will be posting this PDF in the Telegram group. So interested aspirants can download and study. If you don't understand, uh, I will be defining this article separately in another video, right? So shall we move on to the second topic? A pathway to the citizenship for the Indian origin Tamils. So before going on to this topic, uh, let me explain the story, right? So this is our South India, and we have two states here Kerala, and here Tamil Nadu. So please forgive me if I have drawn the map wrongly. My art is such a poor bad condition is in such a poor bad condition, so please forgive me, right? So here we have Kerala and we have in Tamil Nadu and we have Sri Lanka here. So during the rulings of British period, many people from this Tamil Nadu region migrated to Sri Lanka for coffee cultivation. We know that Sri Lanka has a good amount of coffee and tea cultivation, so many amount of people migrated to Sri Lanka. During that time, the people who migrated to Sri Lanka were undocumented. Oh, they doesn't have any proof that they have migrated to Sri Lanka, and here the question arises: after many years, our India's condition improved, and these people wanted to come to Sri Lanka. So there was a lot of problems, and how the government faced the problems, and we are going to study that details, right? So we know that government has government has amended the constitution, and it has made a constitution amendment citizenship amendment act, right? According to citizenship amendment act, we know that Hindu minority from countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, Afghanistan, these Hindu minority people can move to India, and they have made their citizenship acts is so that they can easily get citizenship in India. So this is related to this topic CAA and Sri Lankan Tamils. Indian origin Sri Lankan Tamils. To say specifically, Indian origin Sri Lankan Tamils. So we'll be moving on to the topic. The Supreme Court of India has now posted with 232 petitions challenging the CAA to be heard on December 6, 2022. So next month they will be hearing the case on Citizenship Amendment Act. However, there is another issue linked to the subject, that is unresolved status of Indian origin Tamils who repatriated from Sri Lanka for over 4 decades. Nearly 30,000 Indian origin Tamils have been classified as stateless people. So, since we don't have enough legislations, the people who are coming from Sri Lanka, we didn't give them citizenship. So, they have been residing in the camps for many decades, and they don't have a country. Since they are residing in the camps, they don't have a country. They are not either Sri Lankan, not Indian. So they are stateless people. Given their genealogical link to India, the government of India need to consider extending citizenship benefits to them in accordance with the Indian bilateral obligations and international humanitarian principles and international conventions. So they mostly they remain mostly legally undocumented and socially isolated from the native Sri Lankan Tamil and Sinhalese communities due to the policies of British. So, as I have said, British people took them to the Sri Lanka, but they didn't give any enough documents to these people. So they, after that, the Sri Lankan government also didn't look after them. So they remained isolated throughout these decades. They were denied citizenship rights and existed as a stateless population numbering close to 10 lakh by 1960. As an ethno-linguistic minority without voting rights, this resulted in double disadvantage till two national governments addressed this issue. Subsequently, under the bilateral Sri Mavo Shastri Pact, so this is the president of Sri Lanka, Sri Mavo Shastri Pact and Sri Mavo Gandhi Pact 1974, 6 lakh people along with their natural increase would be granted Indian citizenship under their repatriation. Indian origin Tamils who returned to India around 1982 began. However, Sri Lankan civil war started a spike of Sri Lankan Tamils and Indian origin Tamils seeking asylum in India. So you know that basically Sinhalese people, Sinhalese government was it was said that they were against the Tamil people. Tamil people includes Indian origin Tamil as well as Sri Lankan origin Tamils. So when they were against, there was a revolt group known as LTTE. This group fought against the Sri Lankan government for their own rights, right? So when they fought, there was a huge war in Sri Lanka, and people of Sri Lankan origin Tamil and Tamil origin, Indian origin Tamil, people began to move towards India for their asylum. How it was not through official manner; it was through illegal manners. So they hired a ship, they hired a boat, and they came to the Indian coast, and they were captured by the Indian Coast Guards or Indian police, and they were detained in the camp. So these people were illegal immigrants, right? Not legal immigrants. These people were illegal immigrants and they were detained in the camp. Over the next 40 years, the legal destiny of Indian origin Tamils has been largely intertwined with the Sri Lankan Tamil refugees, and both cohorts were been relegated to the refugee status, right? This is because Indian origin Tamils who came after 1983 came through unauthorized channels or without proper documentation and came to be classified as illegal migrants as per CAA 2003. So, regarding this, we have two cases in our India. One case is Madurai bench of Madras High Court Justice G.S. Swaminathan taking these issues on P. Ulaganathan versus Government of India 2019. The status of citizenship of Indian origin Tamils at Kotapattu and Mandapam camps came up for consideration. The court recognized the distinction between Indian origin Tamils and Sri Lankan Tamils and held that continuous periods of statelessness of Indian origin Tamils offend the fundamental right under Article 21 of Constitution of India. So here you have some homework. We have some articles where it can be applicable to only Indians, and some articles it can be also applicable for foreigners also. It means also for Indians and foreigners, right? So please study these articles and you will get a clarity, right? Article 21 of Constitution. The court further held that Union government has implied powers and grant relaxation in conferring citizenship and prescribed that humanitarian approach shown of rigors of law should be adopted. So what is meant by Article 21? Article 21 is right to free to live, right? So you can study and you will get a clarity, right? So on October we have another case known as Abhirami S versus Union of India. That stateliness is something to be avoided. The court further held that principles of CAA 2019 which relaxes the condition for citizenship for Hindus for Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh would also apply to the Sri Lankan Tamil refugees also. So, situation of statelessness of Indian origin Tamil created a failure in implementing 1964 and 1974 Acts. Therefore, Indian has an obligation to remedy this situation. In case of Chakma refugees who are Chakma refugees. These people are or Hindu origin tribes that were residing in Bangladesh. They migrated to Assam. These people are known as Chakma refugees. The Supreme Court uh, and of for CR of CAP and ORS versus State of Arunachal Pradesh held that undertaking made by Government of India with respect to grant citizenship inheres a right in statelessness or refugee population. Remedying statelessness is not a novel process. While delaying a similar situation in 1984, United States also enacted an immigration. They have also corrected their legislations, and United States have legislated a new law in conferring citizenship to the statelessness people. Not only United States, we have another example of Brazil also. So, according to recent report by United Nations High Commissions for Refugees, comprehensive solution strategy for Sri Lankan refugees, there are around 29,500 Indian origin Tamils currently living in India, and we have to give the citizenship rights to them also. So we are moving on to the next topic, the gun and the pen. So recently, we know that there was an uh, there was a program in which our Prime Minister Modi said that Naxalism doesn't only carry guns also. There are some Naxalites, and he termed a term called urban Naxalites, right? These urban Naxalites carry pen also. Earlier, Naxalites means the first picture that comes into our mind is persons who carry guns. But nowadays, Naxalites also carry pen. So what he says is there should be a stringent laws to avoid to capture these Naxalites. He called for elimination of Naxalites gun wielding varieties and kind that use pen to raise international support and to mislead the youth. So he said that UAPA acts helps us in capturing terrorists and these types of Naxalites. So you can see this topic, and recent judicial order is declining bail to activists. So here uh, um, the term was indirectly reference to these activists Umar Khalid in Delhi riots case and Jodi Jagdap of Kabir Kala Manchin Elgar Parishad are good examples. So these two activists were captured under UAPA Act, and these activists were indirect reference of Prime Minister Modi about urban Naxalites. So when they are captured and put under UAPA Act, they will not be given bail unless and until they have to prove that they are not guilty of their crimes. Good example of how police straddle the huge gulf between the nature of their participation in a protest or an event and an actual act of violence by invoking UAPA. Even before their protest party, the police captured and put them inside the bars. We don't know how the protest will be going through. It will be in peaceful manner or it is in violent manner. But by invoking UAPA, they captured them and put behind the bars, and thus eliminating the need to have concrete evidence to show their involvement in communal or Maoist clear. So this is about the disadvantages of UAPA acts. It has a distinct side of it, the manipulation of political cause. So what this article is saying that it can be used for their political purposes. The government can use these laws for their political purposes, right? So we are moving on to the next topic, burden of tragedy. So 2 days back we heard a sad news about Morbi bridge accident. It is an hanging bridge, and it was constructed around 1879, and these types of bridge have a limited capacities. For example, only 100 people or less than 100 people should be only on the bridge. So 4 days back after Deepavali, many youngsters came to this tourist place, and many people went to this bridge and it exceeded the limit of 100 people. So when there was a huge of people, the bridge is also in old condition, and it became a big problem because bridge has a certain weight limit, and it is also in old condition. It is also not maintained properly, so bridge can't control itself and bridge collapsed. It led to huge fatality rate of around 140 peoples in Gujarat, and around 18 children have also died due to this incident, right? So all this happened due to only one reason. It is called as human negligence. Negligence. Human acts or omission and commission often cause tragedies and significantly change the impact of natural disasters. The police have arrested 9 people. This is not irrelevant, but we have to understand this is due to human negligence, and there is no enough legislations for this, right? People will blame one department another department, but it is purely human negligence. Everyone should be held accountable for this accident. So we are moving on to so tourist and pilgrimage centers around the country should carry out safety and environmental audits to ensure that crowd management and safety protocols are in place to avoid tragedies such as this. Development of new centers when large number of people are expected should account for such contingencies. So, the tourist management and the management which is managing such types of events or such places should have a strong rules to manage such um, places to avoid such problems or accidents. So we'll be moving on to the next topic. So fourth topic and fifth topic is this topic: the amendments to the IT rules 2021. So the Ministry of Electronics (MEITY) has notified amendments to the Information Technology Intermediary Guidelines and Digital Codes Rules 2021. In June 2020, MEITY has pointed out draft of amendments and solicited feedback from the relevant stakeholders. World over, the governments are grappling over the issues of regulating social media intermediaries. Given the multidimensional nature of problem, the centralized of SMEs in shaping social media intermediaries in shaping public discourse, the impact of governance on right to freedom of speech and expression. So, before that, we have to understand what is meant by SMEs, social media intermediaries. This is a person A, and this is a person's. We can't say persons. This is a social groups of persons, right? In order to communicate with these persons, we are using a platform known as Instagram, right? So this is social media intermediary. I am using this platform to communicate with a group of persons, and this group of persons is in social platform, right? So this is social media intermediary. So whatever this person communicates within this intermediary, who is responsible for controlling these actions, right? So previously it has been said that social media intermediary was out of this platform because they said that it was not as who created these problems. It was created by the person known as A, because he was the one who posted, and government rules also favored in this. Now government has brought certain rules, and if the rules were obeyed by the social intermediaries one, then only the intermediaries can be escaped from the law, or else intermediaries will be held accountable for committing the actions committed by A also. So he will be also taken as a partner in this. This is literal not the literate meaning. This is for a understanding, right? So we'll be moving on to the details. First, what was the need to amend the IT rules 2021? First, there was to ensure that interests and the constitutional rights of netizens are not contravened by the big tech platforms. Second, to strengthen the grievance redressal framework in the rules. And third, the complaints that these should not impact on early Indian startups. Right? For this only, they have amended the IT rules 2021. So the first category in placing additional obligations on SMEs to ensure better protection of user interests. First category means to ensure that interest and the constitutional rights are not being contravened. For that, they have placed additional obligations for the SMEs to ensure better protection, right? While the second category involved the institution of appellate mechanism. Second, to strengthen the grievance redressal. For grievance redressal, they have also implemented an additional mechanism known as government appellate authority. Also, they have also added an additional authority known as government appellate authority. So, what are the additional obligations placed on the SMEs? First, the original IT rules of 2021 obligated that SMEs are merely inform its users for the rules and regulations, privacy policies, and rules agreement that govern this platform, along with the categories of content that users are prohibited from hosting, displaying, sharing, etc. on the platform. The obligation of SMS has now been extended to ensuring that the users are in compliance with the relevant rules of the platform. Further, SMS are required to make reasonable efforts to prevent prohibited content from being hosted by the platform by its user. To a large extent, this enhances the reasonability and the concomitancy of the power of SMS to police and moderate content on the platform. So previously, only these SMS had a guidelines that you should follow this and you should avoid this. That's all. But here, the SMIs have given the responsibility to take care of the contents that is being posted in the platform. They have to police or moderate the content on the platform. If it is against the violation of the rules, they have to moderate, right? These are the additional obligations placed on the SMIs. Second, a similar concern arises with the newly open introduced obligation on SMEs to respect all rights included on the Constitution, such as Article 14, 19, and 21, given the importance of SMEs in public discourse. Now we know that public discourse in previous was held on the stages or on the public platform, but we know as with the technological rise, the public discourse is happening on the this platform also. So here it is an important part of life. So here we have to they intermediaries have also to take note that article 14, 19, and 21 is not violated in these platforms. Third, SMEs are not now obligated to remove information or communication link in relation to six prohibited categories of the content. And as when it complaint rises, they have to remove such information within 72 hours of the complaint being made. So, six prohibited categories, and they have not addressed what is these six prohibited categories, but government has given the advisories to the uh, intermediaries. So when they receive any such content or when they see such content, they should remove within 72 hours of complaint being made. Lastly, SMS have been obligated to take all reasonable measures to ensure accessibility of his service to users along with the reasonable expectation to due diligence, privacy, and transparency. So they have to see that their diligence, privacy, and transparency. While there are concerns ensuring accessibility may obligate SMEs to provide services at a scale that they are not equipped to. So, what are newly introduced grievance appellate committee? I think we have discussed this topic. So, they have each and every intermediary such as Instagram or Facebook or anything, they have an committee, they have an appellate authority within themselves. They have an appellate authority within themselves, means they will be a staff of this groups, Facebook or Instagram, they will be staff of these groups. So when an user files a complaint with this appellate authority and he is not satisfied with the result of appellate authority, he can take the output, that is that result or the document given by the appellate authority within 30 days to a newly formed committee of government. It is known as government appellate committee. Government appellate committee, and this government appellate committee has the power to review the situation and give the rulings accordingly. This is the newly formed appellate community as opposed to former. So here and support opposite to this format. Twitter records outline the number of URLs against which action has been taken against the receipt of the complaint. Furthermore, transparency report shows that the number of user complaints continue to be quite low. So even though there is an appellate authority in intermediaries, we have seen that the complaints received by these intermediaries are very low. This may be due to their um, uh, this may be due to their less knowing about these rules, or maybe they are not willing to use these procedures, right? Maybe due to these two reasons, they are not using these committees. So, moreover, the extent framework does not provide any resource if the complaint is dissatisfied with the grievance officer's order. So, there is also the extent framework does not provide any recourse that if complaint is dissatisfied with the grievance officer's orders. So if the officer's complaint is not or his way of solving is not adequate, we don't know what is our next step we have to take. To remedy this, government has appointed a grievance appellate committee that will be looking after the past details of the officers are record. Interestingly, it is unclear whether this is compulsory tier of appeal or not. That is, it will the user have to approach the grievance appellate community before approaching the court. So the final is only we have to approach the court. Even if we are not satisfied with the government appellate community, only solution is we have to approach the court. So this is all about this topic. So we'll be looking after the sixth topic. SC tells center not to file sedition cases, government re-examining provisions. So, um, Section 124 came into picture during the arrest of a girl who posted a derogatory comment on the death of Balasab Thackeray in Maharashtra, right? And police complained her under the section 124A. So 124A and of IPC means they can arrest any derogatory comments against government or public if they complain under the one section 124A. Means it doesn't have clear definition. That is the problem of section 124A. They say that any derogatory means the word derogatory doesn't have any clear definition, so anyone can complain under any ambit, so government can use this as a tool. So here this attorney general have said that there is thinking on subject and some change may happen before the winter session. So here they have said that the Supreme Court judge UU Lalit have said that this section 124A has to be scrapped or it should be altered accordingly, so that only the guilty has to be under the jail and not other person should be under the jail. It should not be used as a political tool. So transgressions were brought to the center's notice. So he say in the reply, Attorney General of central government has said that these laws will be changed in the winter session. This is all about this topic. So we will be moving on to the next topic. Decentralized MGNREGs for better implementation, says government study. So MGNREGs here, it is of local community participation. So the local community participation will be involved in some work such as see here road clearing or dam clearing works. They will be involved in local works and they will be given a certain rupees, right? So the type and the nature of work will be explained by the central government. These types of works has to be done by the people of MG Narex. So what the report has said that they have surveyed 7 states, and in 7 states the output they have got is uh, it should be decentralized. Means these states should define what type of works they should do, not this nation, not the central government. The state government should decide what type of work they have to do. Also, the amount which should be given to the people had to be given in earlier, because people are receiving salary lately and they don't have enough amount to buy these tools. So here what they are saying is these people are buying the tools out of their own money, and money which is given to these peoples are low. For example, in Gujarat, minimum salary is 324 rupees, but in MG and Narega scheme, they are getting only 229 rupees. Similarly, Nagaland, people are getting only 212 rupees per day. But here, they have not included the topography. Topography means, Nagaland is a hill station, so people have to move up and down, so they have to consider the transport amount also, but they are giving only the wage amount, the labor amount for their work alone. So these should be also be considered before giving salary, right? So they have also given another consideration that there should be a revolving fund. So a fund which should be given in advance so that they can buy necessary things, or if they get salary delays, they can be using this revolving fund to compensate the workers and to buy the enough materials for the work. So they have also advised a revolving fund also. So this is all about this topic. I have explained what is in the story. You can study and you will understand it, right? So the next topic is social media can wield their algorithm power to red flag fake news (CEC). So what they are saying is Central Election Commissioner have said that the EMBC CEC said that expect a social media platform to use algorithm power. So if any politician say use violence against this community, if a politician say use violent community against this B community, so when they say the violent in the social media is these social media intermediaries can assess the word violent and they can red flag it before going on to the public, right? This is what he have said. So they can use their technology to stop these types of unwanted things in the social media intermediaries. So the role, framework and capacity of election management conducted election management bodies organized by the election commission. Cohort on election integrity led by commission and established and follow on summit of democracy held in last December last year to preserve freedoms. More early deeper flagging of fake news based on known modus operandi and genders is not an unfair expectation from EMBs. So he said such a proactive approach to counter fake news would facilitate credible electoral outcomes that would help preserve freedoms which platforms require to thrive. He said free, fair, inclusive, and accessible document free elections, a cornerstone for democratic polity, were precondition to the peace and developmental dividends. So this is all about today. So I think it is about 1 hour. So thank you.